of season to you out there. Thank you guys for your support on this channel. You guys are the best. This is the time you have been waiting for. I know many of you have been waiting for me to come out with my Christmas dress part 2. And this is what I'm doing. And I've come with my dainty and beautiful material to make my Christmas dress part 2 for you. So this lace material you are looking at will stay at the waist area, as you can see the picture there. So I'm using my fringe at the lower part, and it's going to serve as one shoulder. So for those of you that does not know what they call fringe, so this is how fringe looks like. So it's going to stay at the lower part and it's going to serve as one shoulder. So I have the other hand with my organza. So this is organza, and I'm using this material to bind it at the sleeve area. So without further ado, guys, let's hit our cutting table as we begin to cut. I already drew some lines on the fabric. I folded it by my highest measurement, and this is the hip line, this is the full length, and I have my waistline and I have my bust line. The full length is 35 and I added 1 inch to make it 36 because of my sewing allowance. So this is what I've done. So I'm placing my 7.5 because I have 15 inches for the back. So I'm going down 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So I marked it and I'm placing my tape measure to get the wideness of my neck. I chose 3 inches for the wideness of my neck, and I'm placing my ruler to connect my shoulder slope to the wideness of my neck. And this is what I'm doing here. So having done that, I'm measuring 7.5 for the half of my round armhole. So I have 15 inches for the round of my armhole, divided by 2 is going to give me 7.5, and I've measured it. So I'm placing the quarter of my bust measurement right here. So I will place the quarter of my bust measurement, which is 8.5, as you are looking at. So I'm adding ease allowance and sewing allowance. You can choose any allowance you want. I chose 2.5, so you can choose any allowance you want for yours. So this is my waist line, and I'm placing my measurement, the quarter of my waistline right there. This 7.75, so I'm placing it there. So I will add the same allowance I added to the bust area there, and this line is my hip line, and I'm placing the quarter of my hip measurement as well. So I'm marking and I'm adding allowance to it. So I'm measuring the hip measurement, so I'm taking it to my full length. So I will deduct 1.5. So I've deducted it, and I'm going to connect to the bust line. Alright guys, for the depth of my neck, I chose 3.5, and for the wideness I chose 3 inches. So I'm maintaining that 3 inches, and for the depth I'm taking 3.5. So this is what I'm marking here. So I'm going to connect the lines together right there. So I've connected it. So I'll connect the side seam together. So I'm connecting the side seam together all the way from the length to the hip to the waist and to the bust. So this is what I'm doing here. Please like my videos, share and subscribe if you are yet to. So I'm cutting right here. I'm cutting right here. So I'm cutting the armhole to the bust. So I'm still cutting it. So I'm cutting it to my waist, to my hip, cutting, I will cut it to the length of the dress. Okay, so this is the length of the dress. So I'm cutting it like so. Alright guys, through with cutting. So this is what we have. So I'm placing it on the other fabric to bring the back panel out. Here I place the front panel on the remaining fabric. So I've added my zip allowance here. I'm marking it. So I added like a 1.5 inches. So for the back depth, I want to choose 2 inches. 2 inches is fine for the style we are making. So for the back depth, I chose 2 inches. So I'm going to cut on that 2 inches. So later I will cut the front or depth. So I'm cutting 2 inches right there. I chose 3.5 for the front depth. So at the back area, I chose 2 inches. So I have to cut both front and back together in order not to get confused. So this is what I'm doing here. So later I will cut the front depth when I separate it. So I'm cutting the shoulder slope to the armhole. So this is to the length. So I'm cutting it right here. Alright guys, I already cut the facing for both front and back of the dress we are making, and these are the facing for the back and this is the facing for the front. I've placed it on it. So this is for the back, so I want to place it for you to see. So I'm placing the back or panel. So I want to place the facing. So I'm placing the facing for you to see. So this is how it's going to look like. So can you see? So I'm going to use it to turn it over. And for the front panel, this is what I'm going to do also. So guys, we are on the joining section. So I'm sewing the facing I cut. I'm joining it as I've said. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm joining the front facing, and I will do the same thing to the back panel. So I'm using 0.5 as I've told you. So this is what I'm doing. Okay, these are the both front panel and back panel. So I'm going to turn it right side facing each other. So I will join it this way. So I will make sure it's aligned at that sewing part of the shoulder. So this is what I'm doing. You can use your pin to hold it down. That side and the other side must be aligned together. So you can use your pin to hold it down before you take it to your machine for sewing. So I'm sewing 0.5 for the both sides. So this is what I'm doing here. So I will join the side seam together from the waist to the length. So this is the hip. I have 36 inches for the hip, and this is my bust. So I'm connecting by sewing. So I will join them by my machine, with my machine, sorry. So this is what I want to do, and I will add my zip at the zip allowance. So the fringe is going to stay at lower part as I've said. Alright guys, I've joined the both sides together. So I added my zip to it. So what next for me to do is to take the measurement of the down part because of the fringe I'm adding. So I will take my measurement and multiply this measurement by 2. You know, my material is unfold, so I'm going to multiply the down part by 2 to cut the fringe. So this is the fringe, I've cut it, and then this is the fringe I'm adding. So I will add it this way. I use my machine to sew it. I'll use my machine to sew the fringe, and I will use the material to pipe it up so that it will cover the edges. So this is how it's going to look like when I'm through with it, so that you won't see the edges. So can you see? We're almost through. We're almost done. This is beautiful. Okay, I want to join the fringe here. So I place the fringe and the material I cut to pipe it up. So I will start sewing. So I will start sewing the fringe. So this is what I'm doing here. So I want to use this or material to cover the edges up. Alright guys, I'm through with sewing. So this is what I have. So I use the material to pipe it up, can you see? So it's very beautiful. So we are moving to the sleeve area. So I will take the measurements from the dart or part. So this is the sleeve. So from the dart area, I'm placing the fringe to the back of that. From the front dart, I'm placing the fringe from the front dart. So I will leave about 6 or 7 inches at the armhole area for the movement of the hand. So I'm placing the remaining fringe at the back to zip area. So can you see, I left about 7 inches for the movement of the hand. So this is what I have done here. So I'm going to sew from that side, and I will sew the other one. So this is the fringe. I'm joining from that part to that part. So I'm leaving that side, the armhole side. Then from after the armhole, I'm sewing to the zip area. So this is what I want to do. I told you I'm adding that or lace material at the waist area. Oh my God, this dress is beautiful. My Christmas dress is beautiful. Okay guys, I've cut the sleeve, so I'm using the material to pipe it. So I'm using this material as band. So I want to start sewing. I'm sewing this way. So I'm sewing on my machine. So I want to join the sleeve to the armhole. So I've notched the central front and I'm placing it on each other. So right side is facing each other. So this is what I'm doing here. Right side is facing each other. So I have 10 inches for the sleeve. So I'm measuring 5 inches. So I'm placing my tape measure to measure 5 inches, and on that point I'm going to sew the sleeve. we have 10 inches and I'm marking 5 inches. That shows we are sewing on fold. So when you open it up, you still have your 10 inches. So this is what I'm doing here. So I want to start sewing. So this is my beautiful Christmas dress. So can you see, it's very, very beautiful. So this is it. So can you see the fringe? It's very, very gorgeous and amazing. So it's very, very beautiful. So this is the back. I'm turning for you to see. So I added my zip, I inserted my zip, and this is the sleeve area, the way I use the material to pipe it up, and this is the sleeve that's the other sleeve, and the zip. Thank you for watching, and I love you all. Thank you for watching my channel. Tell a friend to like this video, share, and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell, then and leave the comment.